Hey everyone, it is Dawn. I'm Vegas Maniac. Thank you for visiting my channel and taking the time to view my videos. Today I am just sort of hanging out in my studio until the festivities start later. And I thought I would just do some random, I don't know, fix-ups. So I ended up with some pretty surprising and interesting results. This canvas, I think it's a 12 by 16. I had poured a bunch of pigments that I mixed up over it and then added some translucent base and just sort of smeared it around and let it dry. I intended to do a Dutch pour over it. It didn't dry very pretty. In fact, it was pretty ugly. There were some really nice colors in it, though, that I wanted to salvage. And so I just took a bunch of paints that I already had mixed, and I layered them in a cup with the translucent base on the thick side. And the white that you're seeing in this pour actually is the translucent base before it dries. This is only about an hour old. And the pearls are from that base. Apparently I have hit the mark in formulating my translucent pearl base because I have tons of pearls on this pour. What's really interesting, besides how I expect this to dry with all of this translucent base just sort of running through the whole pour, and all the pearls that are the translucent base, the white ones that you see, is I had a tiny little amount of worn penny from Deco Art, and I layered that in somewhere in the middle. And it's not everywhere, but the places that it did show up are super pretty. Some really nice glittery lines throughout the whole pour. That section, and then down here you can see it showed up in a line and in some of the pearls. And this is just exciting. I can't wait for this to dry. It should be dry by tonight. Here in Vegas, it's super dry, so this won't take long. And then another one, I had done sort of the same thing with the canvas. This is a 20 by 20 gallery wrapped canvas, and I was so disappointed because I had smeared the pigments all over it and then smeared on some translucent base, and it was really quite ugly. And so I did a Dutch pour with some pretty dark colors on top of it, and it didn't go well. My Dutch pours tend not to go well, so that's nothing new. So I thought, well, what the heck? So I just took a bunch of paints. Again, some pretty dark colors too, like this kind of burgundy brown and a really, really deep purple and a dark blue. This is phthalo green and phthalo blue mixed together. You can't tell how dark it really is by my camera, but it's super dark. And I had a little bit of copper, so I used that too. I used a black base, and it really surprised me because I didn't use a lot of the phthalo green, phthalo blue mix, but all the pearls are that color, and on the edges there's some black that popped up, and that bright pink that I use really stands out against those green pearls. The copper really kind of mixed in I think it might have been a bit thinner than the rest of the paints. I'd used it in a Dutch pour, and the rest of these paints were fairly thick. But this, I guess I was surprised to see so much green pop up, considering that there was maybe, um, excuse me, maybe a quarter of a cup of green paint in the whole thing. But it was the top layer, so it went down first on the black puddle. So I am guessing that it caught the color and just went everywhere. It's super interesting. I'm not a big fan of squiggly lines and such, but I think this really turned out very interesting. I'm going to have a couple of areas that I'm really not going to like this black blob of wobbly pearls. There's a few areas like this. Those were actually places where I picked goo out. One of the paints had gotten kind of congealed, and when I poured it, I didn't see all of the goo in it. And so I probably spent about 10 minutes digging up all the goo, and it pulled that black base up. Like, this area here is very odd. But this is going to make an interesting painting, and I hope that it dries well, considering it's over a pour that I did only 2 days ago. I've had some luck doing pours relatively quickly after a failed pour over top, and they've dried well. I haven't had cracking. Paintings that are older, that have probably been 2, 3, 4 weeks, a month and a half, do crack. I'm not sure why that is. Curing happens fairly quickly here in the desert, so you wouldn't expect that to happen. But yeah, it's been a really interesting 4th of July morning in my studio. It's now late afternoon, and we are getting ready to start enjoying the festivities. But I will snap another quick video in the morning to show you the dried results, to share with you whether they came out and how they look. So I will see you then. Happy 4th of July. Have fun. Be safe.